This meeting of the Pownell Budget Committee, Monday, March 16th, 2026, is called to order at 3:55 p.m. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the March 4th, 2026 regular meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as written for the March 4th meeting.
And I will second them. All those in favor? The motion carries. Public comment, no public here. New business. Select board stipend recommendations.
I'm not gonna screen share it, but I'll at least pull it up.
Okay,
So if you remember correctly, in my presentation, I went with just a cost of living right now as the placeholder, but it is the budget committee's recommendation as far as the select board stipends go.
I am going to recommend, personally, I'm gonna throw it out there, that we go above the 3% and give them 4%, which is peanuts. But they are dealing with some issues right now that I believe they're earning their 4%.
Can we see what the number would be if we go with 4%?
Absolutely. Just a second.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's a token, but
Right.
It would move it up, move it from 21,315 to 21,521. So it would go up about $230 from 3%.
And the 3% is the cost of living.
That they set, yeah.
They
at the
set
beginning of the year.
across the board for all employees.
And that number is split across each person, or is it per person?
That is the total number, and then it's divided. So the chair gets slightly more. I don't know, I can show you here. In this current year, the chair is getting 620.82, and hang on, let me edit that and get it larger. And then the other two regular members are getting 551.84 each month. So I haven't divided this yet because we hadn't landed on a number, but it
Yeah.
rises basically by 4% for each category.
I agree with Andy. I think 4%, I think 3% is like the least we could do, and 4% feels like a gesture of appreciation. And I think it also falls in line with sort of what we've heard throughout the different budget presentations of trying to retain people, and the fact that those positions, those roles, like the time invested into fulfilling the role and meeting the needs of the town is just going up each year. And like was just mentioned, like that's divided 3 ways. And it's really just a gesture essentially of appreciation for the work that they're putting into strengthening our community and keeping it like a good place to live.
I will say from being there, you know, you're not making a lot per hour. But I didn't go through the issues that they're going through right now, so I really think it's worth at least throw another percent at them.
I'm just working on the change to the total now. While you were
So-
discussing.
What I will do, I'll put that in a motion that we increase the select board stipend to 4% at
Right there.
21,522 split 3 ways. Do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
All those in favor? Motion carries.
Great.
You have the list of recommendations that you
Yep, so
Then
that's.
I can bring it up on my phone.
I have it right here. So I just made an adjustment to the general government compensation and then the total. The 6% might be a little bit off and I'll fix that when I actually have my adding machine in front of me, but so actually, do we want to move down to the budget recommendations? Okay.
Our next item of new business is the recommendations. And how we'll do this is we'll make a motion second on each item that we come to. So,
So
Jen?
this sheet gives you the comparison.
Right.
Which I thought was helpful for myself and I hope for you all as well.
General government. I will move that we recommend $748,000, $748,107 for general government for fiscal year 27.
I second the motion.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Public Works.
This does include those changes that I sent to you in the spreadsheet
Yeah.
last week. Did you have any questions as far as you want me to explain a little bit about what the changes were in the road maintenance budget?
Sure.
So one of the things I think you remember Dan talking about wanting to get into a maintenance schedule to prep for the paving schedule the next year. And so we're pausing paving this year to start that maintenance schedule. So we reduced down, actually, it might be easier to, let me just pull up his. So we took the paving rehab down to 50,000 and we're doing prep for next year. He then is going to increase his crack and chip sealing to prepare the roads because that's usually done as part of preparation. So we moved that one up from the previous, I think, only 4,500 up to 50. And then we included, we added a little bit more in the culverts because he does have some culverts that he wants to replace. But again, in the end, now we had a reduction of $106,700 versus the increase that it was previously. Now, next year, it will be different because paving will have to go back in. But this kind of starts that plan and gives us a little bit of pause to really do some shopping around for next year and be prepared.
Well, that gives us an opportunity, if you can. We were asked by the select board to think about the compensation for the road commissioner a little bit. And I want to say after 50 hours, the road commissioner should be eligible for overtime at least in the wintertime.
So do you have a dollar amount?
I don't. I will have to,
We would need a dollar amount, and I would state that the select board would probably need to write a policy about how that would work. And that would be their determination as far as if they're gonna do that piece or not, so.
I have no idea what his amount of overtime actually is.
We only really have one winter of his time to go by, because this is his first year and it's been a busier winter than others. I have tracked previous winters with a previous road commissioner to see what it looked like. And what we were hoping to have is 2 or 3 years of data to really come up with a good average, when we've been talking about this. So we would have to look at that. I'm just not sure I have time between now and Monday to come up with that particular figure or something that makes sense. The other piece in talking about the on-call pay where the relief drivers is partly to alleviate some of those extra hours by giving him a break, by giving the phone to somebody else on the team. And then the minute we put them sort of on call by law, we do have to pay them some sort of fee. And then they would get a call in, if they came in. And then again, the part-time line too, they're still in discussions about how that could better serve the road commissioner and the crew. So there might be a change there that might support him differently and help alleviate some of that. So there's a lot. There's a lot to that I think everybody's trying to do to
Right.
make it work.
I can recommend to the select board on next week.
Monday night, yeah.
Next Monday. That is something that we had talked about and had come up with.
So do you want to not include it in your recommendation? Or do you want to at least come up with, that's the hard thing without, I have no, yeah.
No way to estimate what the dollar amount would be, because we gotta figure in FICA, Medicare.
Right, the 457,
Yeah.
and we have to, because he's salary, he doesn't have a specific dollar amount, so then you have to come up with a rate of pay. And then is he eligible for compensatory time? Can he comp it now too? So there's some questions there. Might be an opening dialogue for something that happens in the next budget year too, as we work on these other pieces that are already in the budget, and then we'd have data maybe to consider. Does that make sense?
It does.
Not that I'm trying to hold him off on anything, but we are trying to find multiple ways to support that role.
Yeah.
Give him a break when it's busy winter.
It probably is, I don't know if it's possible, but is it possible or make sense to create a separate bucket of funds for like a overtime stipend that can be drawn from if he does exceed the 50 hours in the winter? That, it's a set amount, it's not, it can be tapped into or not.
It would be a line specific to him for just his overtime and not used for any of the other crew. Yep, that could be done.
Okay. But it can't be done today.
Yeah, without a dollar amount. I mean, unless you wanted to
Right.
try to put data together and then reconvene and then do a recommendation, but you'd be on a time schedule of getting that done in the next couple of days and.
Right. Can we go back to the last overview?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So at this point, and if the select board, they may recommend a different amount, so. At this point, I will make a motion that we recommend $917,353 for Public Works for fiscal year 27.
Seconded.
Oh.
All those in favor?
And I will, when I go through your recommendations with the board, when they're on select board on Monday, I'll mention these discussions too and bring it forth, and you'll be there too.
I'll be there Monday. Okay, public safety.
So this one is updated from what I sent out to you with, the fire chief originally had been presented at 3% and 2%, and, it got altered to the 3% and 3%. So this is accurate now.
I am going to abstain from voting on this or motioning, so you guys will have to make the motion on this.
I move to make a motion that we recommend $261,097 for fiscal year 2027.
I second the motion.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Human Services. I will make a motion that we recommend $6,000 for Human Services in fiscal year 27.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? It passes. Mallet Hall. I will move that we recommend $43,520 for the Mallet Hall budget for fiscal year 27.
I second the motion.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries.
Just a quick side note on that, the Pownell Scenic and Historical Society has requested to have a heat pump installed that they would pay for, but we've got to talk about who's going to pay the electricity to run it because they're not a separate meter. So they've already contacted, so we got grant money to put those in, and they want to piggyback on that day. And I said, well, that bill needs to be separate because we have grant reporting. But I said, you've got to come to the select board. You might have to have a CMP meter put in now because it's not budgeted in the Mallet Hall, and they're not a town department, they're a 501c. So they, they're gonna have to figure out, and there's no way I can break out that portion. I'm not gonna know how much, different, because electricity is different every year and the rates and our consumption. So there's a little bit of an ongoing conversation, just, going on with Mallet Hall and the utility line and how that's gonna work.
That's for the select.
That's for the select board, but just so you guys are aware, just, keep you up to date on things, that are happening with budget.
It's a good thought, right? Like to have more climate control for
Mhm.
those like sensitive and vulnerable items.
Solid waste. I am going to make a motion, or I am making a motion, that we recommend $186,890 for fiscal year 27 for solid waste.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? Motion carries. Again, I've got to abstain on this because I'm the operator of the PCWA, so.
I will make a motion that we recommend $6,005 to be appropriated for the PCWA for fiscal year 2027.
I second the motion.
Any discussion?
I think you could, because you don't get any financial,
I don't get any financial.
Right,
I
from
volunteer
that.
my
yeah, I mean,
time and talents.
you probably could vote the approval in. Just saying, I think you're probably okay on that one.
All those in favor?
Favor. Cemeteries. I will move that we recommend $8,500 for fiscal year 27. Yes, not 85,000, 8,500.
I second the motion.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Motion carries. Debt service. We don't have much choice in the matter on this one. We took out the bonds, we gotta pay them. So I'm gonna move that we recommend $257,356 for debt service for fiscal year 27.
I second the motion.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Recreation Committee. I will move that we recommend the sum of $1,000 for fiscal year 27 for the Recreation Committee.
I second the motion.
All those in favor? Motion carries.
So this is just sort of a snapshot of the operating budgets from last year to this year. Of course, FY '27 changed a little bit with our change in calculations, but not, too significant. And what I find extremely exciting is that it's actually down $7,000 this year over last year.
Yeah.
$7,000.
Yeah, obviously, it's a little less now than 7, but I just think, that's important to put on the record that operationally, we're flat from last year to this year. There are still some warrant articles that are sort of one and dones, projects that happen outside of operational that will come from taxation that will, affect the tax bill a little bit on the general or on the municipal side of it. But I just, I really wanted to see what it looked like with all the work put into this and the thought put into this, and it made me very happy to see Probably won't be the same next year, just because we'll have paving back and things, happen. But the change in the paving line and the removal of the town planners line were the two biggest drivers to really be able to keep the things that did go up and increase, and help us hold the line at least this year. So we'll take that win.
I think it really shows that as a town, we were able to recognize that we can't have it all, but we can figure out what our priorities are right now and try to be really strategic with our planning so that we can be the most prepared to be able to achieve whatever our goals are for the future as well,
Did,
fiscally.
did that update with the change that we made?
No, it's off a little bit from what we just talked about here, so I'll figure it out tomorrow and.
502.
Yeah, and not by a whole lot, but yeah, so it's a little less than 7,000. And we just learned, I haven't even told the select board yet, but we did get the housing opportunity grant that Isabel Lee applied for, $5,600. So that's going to help us with some ordinance rewrite. So we're really finding grants. I think Pownell's done a lot in grants over the last few years. I don't know the history prior to me being here. And I'm going to be presenting on Monday the next Community Resilience Partnership Grant, and I'm going to recommend LED lighting upgrades to Mallet Hall to improve that efficiency and have better lighting in this round. So we're looking for grants.
Probably speaking out of turn here, but I do know that Future Facilities has put in or is in the process of putting in for a congressional directed spending grant for $4 million. So that's,
And you're not out of line because it was talked about in the select board meeting last week.
so it's huge.
Mhm.
So, all right. Next item of new business, annual report submission, which I know about, and I will write it and get it to Becky. By what date do you?
So I think April 10th or 15th, mid-April, that does buy you a little wiggle room too. What you can do in this case, so you don't have to convene again, is Andy could write it and send it out. And any suggestions or edits could just be sent directly to the budget committee email.
Yep.
And then they could be compiled and resent out. And that's a way that you would not be in violation of holding a public meeting via email, but able to move something like that without having to convene again, so this could be your last meeting until the next budget cycle.
It also could be, like, just putting it there, it could also be just as easy to like reconvene for 20 minutes or something if we need
Absolutely
to.
can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, like each other.
I think we could do it, like, right? Like we could figure out a way to do it.
Definitely.
Okay, I don't believe there's any old business that we need to take care of. There is no correspondence. Does anyone have any other business to come before this meeting? If not, I'll entertain a motion for an adjournment.
I motion that we adjourn at 4:20 PM.
I'll second that motion. All in favor? We are closed.